Orale. What's up, familia? Welcome inside the pad. Hope you guys doing good. Keeping between the lines. Got your loads here. Man, check this out. There has been somebody or some buddies that have really been blowing up, man. And I've had the pleasure to work with them on I don't know. We'll figure it out more than once. That's for sure. That or else I can't count, right? What's up, Andrew? So let's go ahead and let's bring in my man from HERDZ-MEDiA One, Mario. What's up, big dog?
¿Qué hola, everybody? Saludos. Sí. Gracias, Cholo Trucker, for having me on your show, man. Appreciate that. Muchas
Nah,
gracias.
brother. Gracias for taking the time, man, to jump on. And I remember last time I worked with you, I was just like, hey, I'll be in contact, man. I'll be in contact. And it was always in the back of my mind. I'm like, man, I want to get homie on. I want to get homeboy on, dog, because you just seem like you're everywhere, man. You just anywhere I go is like I see you there with a camera. You're working. You're doing what you do, man. And I want to get into all of that because you've done music videos. From what I understand, you're recording for some interviews as well, right? I mean, people are hiring you to because they want to do interviews with people, but they want to do it professionally. And apparently, you're getting into that as well, you know?
Yes, we're doing interviews, documentaries, short films. Um, we also do events where we go and interview folks. For example, in a car show, we have like
Mm-hmm.
interviews with some of the car owners, and it just brings so much depth to the videos. Because part of that, I would just do create videos and just include all the nice visuals and everything. But when you have dialogue, audio, history, all these components, it just makes it a well-rounded video, and it's just you're more drawn into it.
Nice, nice. So let's push rewind, Holmes, and let's start right from the jump. Okay. Where'd you grow up at, man? Let's find out a little bit about Mario Hernandez. Where was your upbringing y todo, all
Oh,
that good stuff?
yeah, and I hardly do any interviews too, so I only done a couple. Uh,
Uh-huh.
so I'm glad to be here today. So yeah, I'm from Mexico. I was born in Hidalgo State. Family came over when I was like about like 2 years old.
Mhm.
Settled in East Los Angeles, right
Mhm.
there by Whittier, by Salazar Park.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to um, the local elementary there, and those were good times. I grew up with my cousins. And during the '90s, it was kind of crazy, man. Lots of gangs. You know, a lot of shit was going on in Salazar Park. Go play, and like, you have a shootout or you hear bullets. We got caught up in a couple of crossfires as kids. Just taking off and
Mhm.
um, yeah. And then my cousins too were little madrosos, so we'll go and like do little freaking crimes, like go to steal fucking candy from the liquor store, and like, and I didn't know any better. I just wanted to be like my cousins, looked up to them, and yeah, that was some of my earliest memories here in the barrio. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, and we moved to Boyle Heights a few years later. I went to Evergreen Elementary School. Um, there, I was so blessed to have and when I started there, I started in third grade, and I was really blessed to have a Chicana, a teacher.
Mhm.
So she noticed something in me. I just love to draw. We always have these drawing exercises where we sketch one another or create like abstract or just many different ways of approaching art. So she noticed like something in me. So um, from there, she kind of started like this gifted program because she spotted a few of us that were like had talents. Some of us were good in math, some were good in history. So she gathered like a selected amount of students, and she just kind of like enlightened us with who we were, our identity. She fed a lot of our interests to us. For example, like my interest was the arts, like visual arts, anything that had to do with the
Okay.
art. I just loved the history, to different types of art, from European art to Mesoamerican art. So we had the privilege to go to different museums and explore the different ways of creating art. And We went to like the example, the Science Center, Natural History Museum, MOLA, LACMA, all these big institutes that otherwise a young brown Chicano would have never known about, So I was
Hey,
blessed to have that influence.
real quick, Mario, did you draw yourself? Were you a good artist, or you were just interested in the arts?
No, I was like visually a good artist. Uh,
Okay,
I want
okay.
to say because yeah, from that point, the teacher noticed something in me, and it's just my drawings always like look really good. They look presentable, and she noticed, and so from there she just started feeding me and feeding me more. So I was really blessed because I know a lot of us didn't have the opportunity to have the education uh, provided by like Chicanos, by our own people. It seems
Mhm,
like there's a lot of like kind of like Caucasian professors. Nothing wrong with that, but just kind of form up a more intricate and more of a connection when you have somebody that's your raza, your own people, kind of like uh, just influence you and nourish you. So yeah, I was
mhm.
blessed with that. Miss Correa, shout out to Miss Correa. So yeah, from then on, I was kind of like enlightened. I knew that I was like Mexicano. I knew to be proud of my heritage. I knew that I was Chicano. I knew about my ancestry, the Aztecs, the Mayas. I knew a little bit about Mesoamerican history and also ancient Mexico history too. So that was a good spark in my life because from then on, that was going to shape the rest of the years to come.
Okay, all right. And you learned all this from her teachings.
Yes, from her teachings.
Oh, that's
And
good.
I say I carried on to like the fourth, fifth grade. And after that, like when I wouldn't have that influence, I will seek it. I'll search it and I'll kind of go on my own and do a little studying on my own and just kind of keep feeding into it. Um, and yeah, I love Mesoamerican motifs. So I started drawing a lot of that, a lot of like Quetzalcoatl, Tlaloc, all the ancient deities, Huitzilopochtli, and just learn about the mythology, about like, Teotihuacan, King Pakal, and all these, ancient stories that were kind of once lost and they were being brought back by, people who were digging it up and, um,
Mhm.
we were reshaping our history and relearning our history and just bringing all that back, and I was just fascinated. I'm still fascinated by all that.
So am I, man, for a different reason. Because honestly, you know, I grew up and went to the school systems and everything of that nature, man. And I never really learned any of that stuff. I was a bad student to begin with, but on top of that, there was none of that history being taught anywhere. I
Oh, yeah.
became good friends with my boy Robert Anthony, who's a Chicano Studies high school teacher,
Oh, wow.
and he's been teaching me a lot, man. He's been sending me a lot of articles, a lot of different things, and it's like, wow, so much stuff, man, that it just went over my head, or stuff that just I never knew, and it's like names and certain events that took place and things like that that you just never ever hear of unless you yourself go out and seek it. It's never taught to you.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
no.
absolutely. Yeah, and I mean after that, I just living here in Nevada to East LA, Boyle Heights. I seen a lot of our culture being reflected on the walls with,
Yeah,
the local
yeah,
artists who
yeah.
would just astonish me with their, large murals, beautiful colors, just um, filled with like ancient influences or modern day, society, and I was just blown away by that too. So I always wanted to paint and draw, and I did. I started by my brother, who when he did some time, and when he got out, he came back with tons of drawings and like all these painted sketches, and like I was blown away by that. So that was one of my major influences as well. My older brothers who they were in the barrio too, and um, I really learned a lot from them from when it came to like music, oldies,
Mm.
like Chicano rap, like Kid Frost and all these like influences that they were local in the area, and they you could relate to. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the reason why I laughed, man, is when you said that what was it, your brothers that got busted and they were drawing and they came back with all the drawings. Is when I was locked up, man, you have some of the most talented people, man, that are in there, and it's like, damn, man, you could have been doing this out on the streets, man. You know what I mean? But they chose a different route. But so let's go ahead and let's fast forward a little bit, man, because so now you're seeing the arts. And by the way, I 1000% agree with you. I love all the drawing. I love all the art on the walls and all that great stuff, man. The murals to me is beautiful. I love the whole barrio feeling. There's nowhere else I would want to live, man, than in the barrio. When that's why when people say like, "Oh man, don't you want to live like in a nice neighborhood?" Like it's Mister Rogers's neighborhood. It's like, honestly, no, I don't. I don't want to live in a place that looks like that. I don't want the guns and I don't want the violence. I don't want the whole, desmadre either. Don't get me wrong. But the feel, the look and everything, man, give me the barrio, man. Capital
yeah,
B all the way, Holmes. Give me the taqueria down the street. Give me a nice mural. The oldies playing outside. It just smells like carne asada outside and the chopped up fruta everywhere. Just that's
yeah.
heaven, man.
I had my door open earlier, and all these carne asada smell was coming to my room, so I had to close it. From who knows where?
So let's fast forward a little bit, man. So now we know a little bit about you. Okay, so you were really into the arts. How did you start transforming that to what you do now? You said you drew, you were drawing as well. How did you transform that to digital work now? Right? I mean, you got to catch up with times, man. Everything
Oh,
is
yeah.
digital. Everything, the game is changing, man. Here we are on social media. It's changed the game. So, how did you take your passion, something that you had love for art and seeing all the artistic things, and start putting it into saying like, hey, you know what? Let me bust out a camera. Like, what made you do that?
So I'm gonna rewind just a little bit, and I'll get to that point.
Mm,
Um, but anyways, like once I was in high school, I really love graffiti, and so
okay.
I really got into it. And I was out there, creating like graffiti bombs,
Hmm.
and tags, and I even got to the point where I evolved into like a tag banger, So shout out to the homie Arturo Moreno right now in line. He was uh, one of the homies who was rolling with me in the crew. Yeah, we're pretty deep and just throwing this madre. We get into some shit, get in trouble with the school system. Got kicked out of a couple of schools, but in the end, I'm thankful that I was able to graduate. I even graduated earlier because um, I was like so dedicated and so like passionate to bounce back that
Hmm.
I finished the school early. Um, and so prior to that, I had taken a few little art classes here and there. I did calligraphy, all the fundamentals of art like perspective and shading and all those fundamentals. And I was doing like tag pieces on my own.
Hmm.
But not until after I got out of high school, I was like, I kind of got tired of just getting into shit, getting into trouble, having to pay tickets, being on probation, and so I was like, after I turned 18, my little record was expunged, so I was like, it's a fresh start, so I'm gonna do something with the arts, So I was really into airbrushing, so that was one of the mediums I picked up, and I was really good at it. I was doing airbrush shirts. One time right down Cesar Chavez by the King Taco on Soto. This
Oh
new
yeah.
tattoo shop opened up called Black Brain. And so I was passing by and I had a bucket hat. Like, had graffiti. I had a shirt. I had like airbrush graffiti, my pants, my shoes, and I walk in there, and they just trip out and they're like, "Oh man, like this is dope." And then we just kind of like had a good conversation, and anyways, they offered me a job, so I started working there, doing graffiti, and pretty soon the airbrushing wasn't enough, so I wanted more, and so then I started diving into the tattoos. And once I got into the tattooing, it just opened up a whole new world for me. Like I was getting so many clientels. the shirts I was able to sell on 20, 30 bucks, but when it came to a tattoo, I was able to do like $200 in like an hour or two, just doing something small. I started small, not too intricate. Yeah, and then after that, that kind of took off. Uh, and then eventually uh, got another job. I started doing drafting. I went to East Los Angeles Occupational Center, and I got a little certification for drafting. So drafting is like it's digital drafting. It's not like the old school drafting where you do the blueprints and you do everything by line. Everything was all digital now.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I was blessed to have a job working at an electrical engineering company in Silver Lake, and I did
Mm.
that for like 7 years. Um, and it was going on good. There's a little bit a lack of opportunity for like upper mobility, so I kind of just, and during this time, I was also attending East Los Angeles College, um, and I kind of just went immediately after I graduated from high school. I went to ELAC, and I didn't want to get like no fancy degree. I didn't want to do like a bachelor's. I didn't want to do none of that. I was like, I'm just gonna go and take some art classes, some music classes, because I'm also a sax player. I started playing the sax, junior high school, marching band, Latin jazz band, um, orchestra, you name it. Every single music program I was in it.
Man, okay.
And then when I went to ELAC, they had a Latin jazz band. So I was like, oh, hell yeah, So we started
Yeah.
playing all those salsa, cumbias. And I started with the alto sax, and they needed a baritone sax. So I graduated to the big baritone sax. And yeah, it was best time of my life. And anyways, I also
Wow.
was taking like just a bunch of random classes. Like I said, I didn't want no degree. So I just took like, I was taking animation, um, drafting, as well as ceramics, just a mixture of different mediums.
Okay, let me stop you real quick right there. First of all, honey, I'm a fan of your YouTube channel, girl. The
Hey,
ma- the making changes. You guys go check that out, man. Making changes. I think making changes with a Z at the end. Good.
yes,
Yeah, yeah. Good interview, man. Good interview that she does over there.
yeah. She
Okay.
does changes. We're the ones behind the camera and producing the show. So we'll definitely get into that. Uh,
Mario, it seems like wherever there's a camera, you're behind it, Holmes. You're like everywhere, Holmes. But all right, man. Let's stick to one thing at a time,
yeah,
homie.
yeah.
So,
I'm
okay,
just
so you're taking all these different classes, right? Was
yes.
it just to educate yourself and say like, okay, I just want to know about everything, or did you have a path and say like, this is what I want to do, so
So
that's why I'm taking all these classes?
just my path was the arts. Anything that had to do with the arts, I wanted to try it. Anything that had to do with music, I wanted to try it. I didn't care like um it was like I had a teacher that told me that you have to try different mediums. You just can't stick to something and kind of like stick to that all the time for years to come. No, you have to try this, try that, bounce over here, bounce over there, and just try it and see what works best. And I mean, everything that I was trying, I was just like so into it. I took a ceramics class, and I ended up building like pyramids and like totem poles, like a lot of Mesoamerican slabs, cups, plates, you name it. I made so much stuff that the teacher asked me not to make any more stuff because I was just going too much. But anyways, yeah, and in that transition, I got a job at Vincent Price Art Museum. So that is a museum that is part of ELAC. And when I was taking art history, eventually I decided, oh, okay, well, I took all these classes. If I take three more and I take a couple of my general ed, then I get a certification. And if I take another class, then I get another certification. And if I take a couple more, then I get a degree. So I was
Mhm.
slowly going into that direction without even knowing. So uh, and in this time, I also started volunteering because I really wanted to work at a museum setting. So that was my goal at that moment. And I started volunteering at different museums, including one that's called La Plaza de Cultura y Artes, which I now work on full time. And it's located in downtown LA. I started as a volunteer. And then I started volunteering at MOLA, the Museum of Latin American Art, where I learned just how to be courteous to people because I want to be honest. Growing up here in Nevada and East LA, it's like you always talk to brown people. Every now and then the brothers, but it's like I hardly had any interaction with white folks, believe it or not. So, like, I didn't even know how to speak to white folks. Like, how do I talk to? Like, I was so naive. I was so young still too, so I didn't know. And so, being there, a lot of white patrons came over and like cool people. And so I just like started developing relationships and just starting to develop people skills, which was later on was gonna help me with working at Vincent Price because there I was greeting folks, and eventually. They have a third floor permanent collection. But first of all, for those that don't know who Vincent Price was, he was an actor from the 50s, a horror film actor, and he just happened to stumble across ELAC, and they asked him to do a ceremonial speech, and so he was blown away by the diversity. So he was a collector of Mesoamerican art and art from the Americas, from like Peru and Central Mexico, and anyways, he had this collection that uh, people on the west side were asking for it over there at like UCLA and other institutes that were already well established. So he decided to like flip the script and give that donation to a community college. And so from then, the Vincent Price Art Gallery was born. And then eventually in 2011, it became the Vincent Price Art Museum. So this new facility. So I was blessed to like be there in the initial start when the museum started. And so I got a job, and eventually that specific collection I became like so well. No, I knew it so well that I started giving tours and just giving the Mesoamerican experience to anybody that would come in and let everybody know there to be part of their heritage, to be part of where you came from, and the history behind it. Because to hear that this verbal history is kind of being told by another brown person there in the school, I had students call me professor, and I was like, "No, I'm not a professor. I'm your peer, brother." So it was that like I took it to that level of professionalism,
Yeah,
and
in case not everybody is from the area, so when you guys hear Mario say ELAC, that is East Los Angeles College. So
yes.
that's what he's referring to. But man, okay, so you didn't know how to talk to white people, so you didn't feel comfortable when a white person rolled up and you'd be like, "Hey, ¿qué huele, carnal?"
Yeah, I noticed that I talk a lot of slang, and I didn't even realize that it was slang because that's just the way you grew up,
Right.
speaking right here, and so, yeah, and so
Yeah.
I just kind of opened up my eyes, but
Okay.
eventually, some folks at La Plaza started noticing me. Hey, these guys at Elad, these guys at over there, Mola, he's everywhere. So,
Mhm.
kind of like now in the video scene and videography scene, I was then in the museum scene. I was just trying to be known. I was like doing internship, volunteering, free work, and just for me to learn. Um,
Mhm.
and so these folks, the curator, they see me and they're like, let's give this guy a job. So next thing you know, they offered me a job, and I started working for La Plaza de Cultura y Artes in 2015, which is a Chicano Mexican American museum. And so I was just like delighted because this is my people, this is my history, and um, Ruth and I happened to like stumble on it because I would pass by because when I used to work at the electrical engineering company in Silver Lake, I would see the development, and I used to think like, man, when are they gonna like bring all these buildings down and create something for the community? And to my surprise, the buildings were remodeled, refurbished, and reopened as a Mexican American museum. So I was really, really fascinated by that, and I wanted to be part of it. As soon as I left, I became a volunteer. Eventually, got a job in 2015, um, and I was working visitor services. From then, Ruth was really into concert, but um, once we went to Vegas and we just got the best two tickets to see Santana uh,
Oh,
at the Hard Rock Cafe. So that was one of Ruth's like first big concerts. So
okay.
she fell in love. I fell in love. Just imagine to have Santana like two rows in front of you. It's like it
Just
was blown.
jamming it up.
I was blown away. Too. I always love Santana, and to see him up that close, we just fell in love with it.
Yeah,
So
man.
yeah,
So okay, okay. So let me ask you this. First off, Anthony Bravo, Los Tres Chinguas Boxing, man, will be all over it, big dog. But Mario, okay, so you still had your passion and love for music all this time as well. You said you played the saxophone, so you still had love for music. Man, you just love with the arts of music, with the actual arts, man, and you're building all this passion and just learning. You said you were internship, working for free pretty much, man,
Yes.
just because you loved it and they
Yeah.
saw that in you. So when you went and saw Carlos Santana, dang, dog, that must have been something. I'm not great in musical instruments or anything like that. However, I did say I'm gonna learn how to play the piano. When is that? I don't know, Holmes. But at some point, I'm gonna learn how to play, man. But go ahead, take us from there, man. So the Carlos Santana,
Yeah, we get almost there. We get in there. We get into the HERDZ-MEDiA part.
yeah,
So, anyways, yeah, me and Ruth were really hooked into concerts and events, and Ruth
hmm
was like, "Oh, there's gonna be this event happening. Let's go!" So we would go, and then we go see like Tierra, the
yeah,
local bands
yeah,
around here,
yeah,
which,
yeah.
yeah, I'll get to the point where I had a actually chance to work with Rudy Salas too. I'll get to that, but
Okay.
um, yeah. Anyways, yeah, and then at that point in 2015, I needed a couple classes for me to get my degree in graphic communications. So I was really good at Photoshop, at Illustrator, at cropping people out and putting them in other like parts of the world and stuff like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started doing graffiti and lettering through like Illustrator because you were able to like really manipulate your letters in there. So I started doing like fonts and stuff like that, just exploring all kinds of things, uh,
Mm-hmm.
through digitally though, digitally. And so then I needed Photo 10, and of course I needed math. Those were my last classes. I left because I wasn't too good at math, and photo I never taken photography, and so I
Okay.
left the two most undesirable classes for me in the end. And I was like, oh, dang, I guess I have to take this dang photo class. So I walked in the class and I told the teacher, like, I kind of like, after we had a little lecture, I pulled him to the side and I told him, hey, like, I'm not good at photography at all. I never picked up a camera. And he's like, don't worry, I'm gonna show you. And he started showing me how to like change the lens, change, the how to process the film, and from scratch. And believe it or not, like 2 3 weeks later, I was in the dark room developing, and I was like, man, this is pretty cool. So it was just a science that went with it, timing, how much exposure time, and to when you take the picture. uh, and so I met up with a few friends from there that we kind of just clicked together. We hopped on our bikes. We were not cruising everywhere to like Island Park, to Placito Olvera, to First Street, Boyle Heights, all the way to Monterey Park and San Gabriel Valley. So we're just on our bike.
Mm-hmm.
And we just started taking pictures of random shit, because we wanted some material for our class because we needed to make a portfolio. Um, so from then on, I actually fell in love with it after, from like despising it at first because I didn't know what to expect, to the point of saying like, man, this is really, really freaking amazing. This is just another medium, just another art form for me to express the artistic ability, So, but anyways, I got my degree, I graduated. I got another degree in studio arts, which is more like creating arts, like 3D sculptures, also ceramics, and then
Okay.
I got another associate degree in art history. So it was kind of like a rounded experience. The art history was going to allow
Uh-huh.
me to speak about the arts, learn about the terminology, learn about the history. Uh, the studio art was going to allow me to create art, with my hands. And then the graphic communication was going to bring the whole digitalized arts into my spectrum of knowledge, So I ended up getting three associate degrees, and from there, I decided just to buy a digital camera. I was like, what the heck, I'm gonna buy a digital camera because I actually wanted it to uh, have my own reference, because I like to take pictures of like the Aztec dancers, and I
Uh-huh.
like to create art out of them. Like I do like pyrography, like wood burning, and so I
Okay.
started taking a lot of pictures of them too. And so I just didn't want to get any pictures from the internet or snatch somebody's picture up and be like, hey, that's not your original idea. So that's why I got the camera initially, so I can have my own reference. But
Hey
you
Mauro, let me just go ahead and say this, man. Like I've chopped it up with you a little bit here and there. We've worked on couple of projects together, a couple of music videos. Man, homie, you're becoming like one of the most interesting characters ever, dog. Serio, man, with all with all this knowledge that you just open yourself up to, man, and just absorb, man. But go for it, big dog. Handle it.
hey, gracias. Thank you, brother. Thank you once again for having me on your show. Shout out to everybody who is tuned in right now. Ruth is right here, right by me too. So yeah, let
Okay.
me ask you.
Michael R. Yes, we this is live.
Saludos, Mike. Michael. All right, yeah. And so, yeah, I picked up the camera, and I just started playing around with it. One of the things, like I said, that I love to photograph are Aztec dancers. So, my
Mhm.
first Instagram is all about Aztec dancers. And but anyways, then also the combination of the events, Ruth started like started promoting and started noting the promoter. Started First of all, she started buying tickets. She will buy like 5 7 tickets, and to bring a little crowd, bring all our friends, and just to
Mhm.
have fun. And so we started going into like the Rey Carrion events, and like all these promoters. They back then we didn't have no clue who they were, but anyways, I just started taking my camera and started taking pictures, and like uh some of the pictures started coming out really good, and I was like, okay. Then I started we'll start sending them to the artists, and they were like, oh, check out this good picture by so and so from Mario and Ruth. And eventually people started asking us, oh, can you come to our event, take some pictures? And I'm like, oh, cool, yeah, yeah. And they would let us into their event for free. So that was like the best part. So we
Okay,
started.
just so you could take pictures and stuff.
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
that's where me and Ruth started getting hooked on that too. So next thing you know, we're doing big concerts. We're seeing big artists, and we're still working on our pictures. And then the best part was that all of the rules of art that I learned through the years, like composition, perspective, the rule of thirds, just so many different methods of creating art. I was able to just to carry that along into photography.
Mhm.
And so at work as well too, at La Plaza de Cultura y Artes, there's just so many events going on there that I would just start taking my camera, started taking pictures of what was happening. And so pretty soon they were using those pictures to create graphics and stuff like that. And at the moment, La Plaza didn't have anybody to do graphics. The marketing director had left, and so it was just
Mm.
kind of like, oh, who's gonna do our signs? I think eventually they were gonna look for somebody, but I don't know what took them. But that's when I came in. I was like, hey, let me help you do this design. Let me help you do this. Let me help you do that. And so pretty soon, I was doing all the signage at La Plaza. I was doing graphic design for them. And mind you, I was still working on my role, which was visitor services, welcoming guests. And I was
Okay.
doing that kind of on the side unofficially without being part of my job description. And so it's just like kind of just pushing that. Eventually, I was part of the marketing team now. So I was have visitor services, have marketing team, and then I started helping with social media, creating posts. Um, and that was going on well, really, really good. The concerts were really kicking. We were like starting to get booked for that. We started getting booked for photography gigs too,
Mhm.
and so then, uh, you know, it's just from there the curiosity just grew even further. So then I started doing video clips. Like somebody will perform, and I'll take like a few minute little video clip, and
Yeah.
and
Let me ask you this real quick, man. How you said like they would invite you to the concert for free just so you could take pictures. Will they pay you for the pictures? Like, hey, you come into the concert for free and then we'll buy the pictures off of you? Or at first was it coming to the concert for free and just hook us up with
yeah, at
whatever you
first
capture?
we were just like pretty happy and appreciative that they would
Right.
invite us. So we would just kind of just give them all the pictures. We'll throw our logos in there. So when they
Okay.
would pose, they'll see our logos. And um, we decided to brand ourselves. We're like, if we brand ourselves, we're gonna have more opportunities. We're gonna have a logo. We're gonna have just this image behind us rather than
Mm,
just being Ruth and Mario, you know.
mhm,
So Ruth and myself, we chose Herds Media because my last name is Hernandez, so
mm.
we wanted to kind of keep it related. So we cropped it into Herds, um,
Okay.
and we just added the media part, so the people, the organizers, or the promoters can know, oh, there's a media crew, so they just like automatically
There you go.
the name behind that
There you
just immediately allows you to think that, oh, these guys are into media and this is a crew and this is a company. So
go. Mhm.
when we did that, like, our opportunity just kind of jumped. And there was this opportunity, huge opportunity at La Plaza, where I don't know if you know La Marisol from La Santa Cecilia. She's a Grammy award-winning artist. She grew up there in Olvera Street, and she had a puesto. She
Okay.
still has a puesto there in Olvera Street. So, uh,
Really?
yeah, she still like frequents that area, and this is a big artist at the moment. To me, she sings a lot of like regional Mexicano music, a lot of like trio music, and like kind of like Spanish rock too. Like she like crosses over to many genres. But anyways,
I
we
mean,
were
just Alvera Street is just art, man. For those that
oh
are
yeah.
not from the area, you ever going to Los Angeles and you want to visit a couple of cool places, one place is Alvera Street. Go to Alvera Street. Badass. You won't be disappointed.
Yes, that's where the city of LA was founded. So from
Mm,
there, it expanded out into what it is, the metropolis that it is now. But yeah, and anyways, when you said Alvaro Street, it kind of triggered back a few other memories where, as a visual artist, I also displayed a lot of paintings because I also paint. I do, like I say, pyrography, wood burning. I also display photographs of
mhm.
photography. Um, and yeah, I like to consider myself a mixed media artist because I'm not just doing one type of art form. I do like I'm fluid, and like I try to touch bases on every type of medium,
Do you
Uh,
still do tattoos, Holmes?
yes, I do. Yes,
Do you really?
yes, and believe it or not, that's one of the big money makers because, for example, right now I have a project to do two thighs, uh, and it's a lady, and so I'm gonna tattoo both her thighs, and so I designed her design on Illustrator, so it was this perfectly symmetrical design, that you can't get no more cleaner than that. So I have the ability to use the computer graphics to allow me to create this, you know, also tattoo visuals too. So it's a combination of everything, Yeah, no, I have
Wow.
a couple folks who are like, "Where's my tattoo?" Like Dr. Week, because sometimes I have so much things to do that, like, I tell Ruth, "Hey, throw them in the calendar, like, give them a day," because Ruth right now she's doing all the planning because I'm overwhelmed. So
Right.
I just tell her, "Hey, get them in there," or like, "Honey, just she wants some tattoos," so I told her, "Hey, give her a day, so we could get that done." But yeah, I love it, man. I love the tattoos. It's something that it's different, different type of art, and
Okay.
it's more crucial because, like, if you mess up, if you do a wrong line, a wrong turn, you have to be like super 100% concentrated, and like, yeah, it's different than other mediums, I would say. But yeah, back to taking videos in La Santa Cecilia. So, anyways, La Plaza was having a gala, and so I was one of the photographers for the gala. So I was thrilled to be able to take pictures, and
Mhm.
all the honorees and everybody coming into the red carpet. So I was really excited about that. Um, and so they bring this artist, La Santa Cecilia, and so a week before the gala, they announced that they wanted to do like a video for her. So there was a videographer de La Plaza were hired occasionally to come and help to do some of the visuals and videos because we didn't have nobody to do the videos.
Mhm.
Now I do all the videos right there at Plaza, but at the moment, they brought in this guy, Javier. Shout out to Javier, man. That guy was like one of the key mentors when it came to videography because he was another level, of course, but he just gave me the rundown, the scoop about like how to film because I had never filmed before. Everything
Mhm.
was photography, all the visual arts. I knew I had a really good, I still have a good, really good understanding of the arts, but when it came to videography, it was a different ballgame, a different medium. And
Okay.
so, yeah, anyways, like he came over, he like give me like an orientation. I was just asking questions. I mean, even before that, like people that would meet in events and gigs, I would just like get all these knowledge from all these people, and then I would also go to like YouTube and see watch similar videos of like how to edit
Mhm.
and so luckily the editing process, um, it was a little bit different because it was more simple, I would say, because I already knew Illustrator, Photoshop, and also InDesign and all these Adobe programs. So when
Mhm.
I picked up Adobe Premiere Pro, which is the editing software, it didn't seem so far off from the interfaces. You know, everything was kind of like very similar in some degree. And so, anyways, they wanted to make a video of Cecilia singing a song to the Lobos because the Lobos were going to be the honorees.
Okay.
And so him and I, we created it. We did the takes. I was camera two, he was camera one.
Mhm.
And then I took all my stuff home and I just started just looking at all the videos I took, and I started like syncing all the videos together. And then I started adding B-roll on it. And I was like, hey man, like I'm onto something. And so next thing you know, like after hours of like spending working on it and like looking at tutorials and going back and forth, I had created, I didn't even know I had created my first music video. And
Okay.
so I had a Nikon camera. I didn't even have the appropriate camera to like create the highly clean visuals that we do now, but it was a start, man. It was a start. I didn't even know the right settings. The video was all grainy. The sound wasn't that good, and so all these little things that I was just kind of like. I look back at it now, like, oh, I could have done all these things different. Um, but hey, that's the way you learn. You know,
Trial and error.
you have to like mess up. You have to try different things, and that was the first video I did, and I passed it over to our supervisor at La Plaza. He revised it. He had some suggestions, some editings. It even came out even better than when I had created it. And then also we had Javier look at it, so he gave me a lot of pointers. And eventually, I solidified the video. I used some of his footage as well. We did a
Mhm.
collaboration, but I was the lead editor for that, being my first time. And so
Okay.
it eventually was a hit. So after that, like I was just hooked. And so whenever I would hear somebody, oh, they're gonna do a music video, they need people to come like support, I would just go and take my camera and see how the videographers work, see their movements, how they dance with the camera, the directions, what kind of terminology they use. So I was just absorbing all these street knowledge that I was seeking.
That okay, that first one that you said that it was you and the other camarada that did together. Were you nervous at all, man? Were you like, man, I hope I'm getting the right shots. I hope
Yes.
I'm getting the right spots that they want me to get and make a good video here.
Yes, especially because it was this already Grammy award winning artist. So I was like, oh
Okay.
man, like I gotta step my game up. So uh I I did research before anything and just try to educate myself. Like I said, go to YouTube University and just learn from all the different YouTubers, and everybody has a little something to offer. And yeah, I gotta say that the videography was self-taught,
Okay.
based on all everything I've learned in the past, the music component, the artistic component, all that came into play when I started creating music videos because I already had a good sense of music, the upbeats, the downbeats, how the music kind of worked with the hooks and um, the first verse, second verse, and I had a really good structure in my mind of how music works. So when it came to the visuals and music, mixing them together, it's just like it was like harmony, So after that, like I said, I went to different music video shoots and I was just
Mhm.
learning. And then one time too, I went to a music video shoot for CJR. It was this is a little youngster. He's
Okay.
like 6, 7 years old, and he creates music. So he did a collaboration with another artist,
Uh-huh.
and the artist himself, he was a videographer too. So the same artist, he was shooting his own music video with CJR. So he needed somebody to shoot his part. And
Mhm.
so I was there to help him shoot the part. So my footage was also included in there. So that was my second collaboration, my second music video.
Mhm.
And so he did all the editing, but I sure learned a lot from the process. Yeah, and then eventually I told Ruth, hey, you know what? Let's go for our first music video. Let's look for an artist and
Hey,
let's.
real quick, was Ruth, was her hand in all of this too? Was she right there? Your second, was she helping out
Oh
uh
yeah, yeah. From the
right
from
from the
the very
jump?
beginning, that's why like it's teamwork, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, and she also like was a big promoter as well too. In the '80s, she like she was running with a party crew, and she like promoted all these events. She has a bunch of flyers and different events she was part of. She has boxes of photographs she would take too, stuff from the '80s, stuff that's like when you look at it now is like, damn, that should be up on like veteranas and rucas and like in all these other pages, because she got some gems, you know. She hasn't even showed me everything, but hey, shout out to Armando Rodriguez. That's my coworker over at La Plaza. He's a great.
Hey, man. Hey, he's not lying, dog. He's not lying what he's saying on here. I agree with them.
Yeah, I worked also a lot with Armando. And also like I just showed him recently a video that we created back in like 2018. One of my first videos at La Plaza, where it's the culinary garden workshop. Because
Mm,
he's a culinary instructor, manager of culinary program, and also the edible teaching garden. But yeah, he like seen the growth, and he always like he has that artistic vision, and he always kind of helped me nurture that. So shout outs to Armando. But yeah,
okay.
so I told Ruth, hey, let's find an artist. Let's go ahead and like do this on our own. You know, let's get our crew together. Um, so, anyways, we hit up a couple artists. One of them, it's hey Raul Bravo. So I was actually gonna talk about your brother too. So we got together con ese Pegaso, el Pegaso. Check him
Yeah.
out on YouTube, el Pegaso. That's Raul Bravo's brother. So, anyways, we got together with his crew. Um, and so we did a music video for them, and we did over there in Myers. I don't know if you all are aware of Myers, right here by downtown LA, kind of like Boyle Heights area by El Pato. That's like the
Okay,
to
el
go,
pato, yeah.
yeah, El Pato sauce. That's like to
Uh-huh.
go the to go to spot for photo shoots, music video, last minute shit. You know, it's like you get the nice downtown LA buildings, you get the First Street Bridge, and so it's
Okay.
real nice setting. So,
Okay.
anyways, we shot that video, and it was a hit. I like just started learning how to incorporate B-roll, how to you know instruct the artist to be more dynamic with their hands, to use more expressions, to just like all these elements that come into play when you create a music video. You know, the background, make sure that you have the nicest background that you could compose. um so I just started learning a lot, and I started learning about like speed, like filming at like 120 frames per second for slow mo, 60 frames for like action shots, performance shots, and then editing everything in 24 frames per second, which is like a lot of the movies that you see on TV are
Mm.
they were created with 24 frames per second. So you see a lot of motion blur,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
but uh, if you do like 120 frames per second, you see like fluidity in the movement, and so just stuff like that.
Okay. You see, a lot of this lingo I don't know, so you could put me up on game, big dog, because I don't know all this
Yeah,
lingo, man. The frames and the speeds and all this stuff, man.
yeah,
But
and then I picked up a stabilizer too to stabilize my shot. Like the first time I bought a stabilizer, I was like, oh, I was ready to go return it back because I was trying to put it on the camera. I was like, oh, should I give up? And like it was so difficult to mount that camera and stabilize it that I was like just ready to give up. Eventually, I just kind of kept it going. Saludos to Big D. Yeah.
Big D keeping it real, man. Yeah.
Yeah, just decided to keep it going, and I eventually I went to YouTube again, and I checked like how do like this stabilizer work, and what kind of functions they have, and boom, I like finally I was able to like master that. And
Mhm.
then from there I wanted to bring in family too, so I brought in like my cousin Jesus, I brought in my brother Eduardo, cousin Jake, the homie Arturo Menes, who I think he's still in here, to help out with the videos and also take B-roll. And B-roll is like video that you take of people maybe interacting or like close-ups, uh, and it's not B-roll in comparison to performance shots is different, because performance shots is like you're singing to the camera and you're like, you're actually rapping or singing the
Mm-hmm.
lyrics,
Mm-hmm.
versus B-roll where you kind of just like are interactive. It's more like a candid. You get close-ups, stuff that's not performance shots. So I
Okay.
learned to like have
Is
a
it, is
balance.
it kind of like if you're shooting something behind the scenes, almost like you're capturing some stuff behind the scenes, almost?
Yes, yes, like
Okay.
candid, like where nobody's noticing. Yeah. uh,
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
yeah. So um we had the crew helping out too. It started growing little by little. We started, building up our Instagram. I started doing TikToks, um, and just going out there and like, for example, something we like to do after music video shoots was hit the boulevard too on Sundays and go film all that card action. Um, and from there we met a lot of people from the Loretta community, and eventually we ended up calling them up to come and come feature their cars in the music videos. And then I started doing like music video. I'm sorry, car show recaps where I have all the best cars, and I
Yeah.
met cool guys like Diablo too. Shout out to Diablo. He's a well-known camera guy in the Boulevard. So
Mm-hmm.
I look up to folks like that too, who are always on the grind, always going live in their when they're out there in the car shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so then we decided to do our next music video, and that one was Heart of a Hustler. Heart of a Hustler. And who's the artist? It's the Joe Serious. Yeah, Joe Serious. Rest in peace, man. He
Oh,
passed
right.
away. But anyways, we filmed that over there in Norwalk Records.
Mm-hmm.
Just before the gentleman passed away, the owner. So we had a chance to meet him, and he gave us a little history of Norwalk
The
Records.
owner of Norwalk Records. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And then that
Iconic,
day
man.
we were blessed with West Coast Graffiti's presence. He showed up. He did some
Mm.
interviews. We also were blessed with Puppet Master. Puppet Master
Oh
with
yeah.
Triste. He came
Oh
through,
yeah.
and I was like, man, I was just like so thankful to have him, because we were pulling in folks from the community, and like we're making little ripples barely.
Mm.
Yeah. Was that?
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. También shout out to Este Vato talk show
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I did a show on gosh, is it on Facebook, I believe?
on Instagram too, right? Probably.
I think I did his show. It was a while back. I did it on Facebook, man, with his puppet.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Shout
shout
outs
out
to
to
him,
him.
man.
He's a cool
Good
fellow.
camarada right there.
Old school veterano from the barrio too. Really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
good dude right there.
so they, we also brought some cars in, and we just started building our connections, our networking, because I mean, prior to all the media work, I was really going kind of hard on the art scene too. I had my first art show 2019, I want to say, a solo art show with all my Mesoamerican artwork. It was called Speak from the Heart. So it
Mm,
had all kinds of mediums. It had like uh, wood carvings, it had ceramics, it had linoleum prints, silk screens, paintings. It even had digital art too. I was diving into like the digital, realm. So
mm,
just a variety of work. I always been very dynamic with my approach to creating different mediums. I just don't stick to one thing. Uh, and at that time, I was wondering like, because at one point I was really into painting. I was
mm.
just like bringing out so much work, and then at one point I was really into like stamp print making, like carving linoleum cuts and creating prints. And then
Okay.
at one point I was really into like graffiti. I was just making pieces, large panels. And then at one point I was really into like drawing like present kind of influence art. Hey, saludos to Becky Perez. Hey. I know,
Saludos,
right?
Becky.
Even some of that face paint too. Yeah,
Okay.
so
La del Día de los Muertos.
right, right,
Okay.
and yeah, so um, when I was really into the arts, I was wondering, like, man, what medium am I really gonna go into next, and like go all out? I never
Mm,
thought that the photography was gonna evolve into videography, and so
mm,
here am I now today. At the moment, we have done over 50 music videos. Uh, and so we have done a couple short films, we've done a few documentaries, and now we're doing a lot of interviews.
Mhm.
Right now, at the moment, we have a couple shows, including Making Changes with Honey. Shout out to Honey. We
Yeah,
just
shouts to making changes, man. They popped up on my feed. I think when they interviewed Lady Old School.
oh nice.
Yeah, the homegirl Lady Old School, and I'm like, oh, that man, she's being interviewed by somebody, and I clicked on it, and then it just exposed me to making changes, man. So shout outs to that channel. You guys go check that out on YouTube, making changes.
Yeah, we also have Barrio Driven with Vince Romo as a
Oh yeah,
host
yeah,
too.
yeah.
We record about, like, 13, 14 episodes so far, as well as Making Changes. We have about the same 13, 14 episodes. We
Mm,
have few coming out. And yeah, and like, even with Making Changes too, thanks to Honey, who linked me up with Lady Old School. We just filmed her first music video this past Saturday. And guess
mm.
what? The music video was ready yesterday.
Okay.
So we've been on the ground. We I already came up with this method of this formula of creating music videos that I literally turn them around like in 2 3 days. If it was up to me, like, I'll get home and I'll freaking work on that video until it's done. You know,
Y-
after
y-
the whole day of music video shoot, multiple scenes, drone shots, multiple
Yes.
cameras. I go in, and like, after all that, I go back home. I upload everything. I sync everything. I crop everything, and it's just like this long process. A music video could take almost up to 20 hours of
Mhm,
work, including
mhm.
the shoot.
Right.
So it's just all these fundamentals of art that I learned, all the art history, all the music, everything has come into play now, and this is like one of my evolutions, that came about. That's why I couldn't leave out the fact, that I was a musician. I still am a musician. I even also taught myself how to play flute, so I play the flute, was self-taught. And
And you don't know, I don't take this in the spirit that it's intended, Mario, but you look like a musician, Holmes.
thanks,
You
man.
do, dog. Serio. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know if it's, the facial hair or whatever. You look like the vato that would just go into, like, a nice little setting, man, bust out the saxophone and start jamming, homie.
Yeah, yeah.
You just look like that character, man. But
I
what you
love
said right
Santana.
there, what you
So
said right there about, turning the music video over real fast. That's true, man, because when we shot a music video with Second Chance, shouts to Second Chance, it was released that the next Friday.
yeah,
I mean, it was not even a week, man, a day short of a week, and you released it right then and there. And I was just like, damn, I was a little bit blown away, man, that you were able to put that together so fast and released it.
yeah, we really take pride in our speed at creating videos. And so that's what has, in a couple of years, just like 2 3 years, we have created over 50 music videos. So we're averaging at least 2 videos a month. If it was up to me, we probably do 3 4 music videos a month. But uh, at one point too, like, we made like 3 to 4 music videos a month too. This year we've done about 8 so far.
Okay.
Um, and I think even more. Yeah, even more too. Yeah, we have one this Sunday. We're gonna shoot with the California and Chueco and Mr. B. They have been one of our number one clients. I have actually shot about 20 music videos for the California.
Yeah,
20
I've
music
seen
videos.
that.
Yeah, they're one
I,
of the number one clients. The first, so we would always love their music. Of course, we met them at Velorio, and we kind of kept up with them. And then Ruth, hey, saludos to Chicano State of Mind, right there. That's the camarada. I always see him at the events. And yeah, eventually, we
and I mean,
started.
I've seen you. Yeah, you've worked with the California. You work with MCD, which I think that's the first time I met you. I'm not really sure. I got jumped in the park, and then somebody actually called the Hudas. we
Yeah,
were
so
just we were
shout out
shooting a
to,
video where somebody is supposed to get jumped, and I was just like, "Hey, I'll go ahead and get jumped." And next thing you know, the Hudas actually roll up. Man, they thought something was really going down. But you've worked with Alvia Cadena. I mean, dog, you're getting up there, man, with all the heavy hitters, homie. I mean, is it Is it getting a little bit tough? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure you love what you do, and I'm sure you love getting this exposure and the work and everything. Is it getting a little bit tough, man, to keep up?
Yeah, but you know what? Like sometimes when I finish everything and I don't know more music video, no more interviews, no more I just like I feel like what the hell do I do now? It's like uh
What?
it's like I need it, you know, I need to be busy, I need to stay busy to keep me going because like I don't like to be idle, you know, I always like to have something to do and sometimes I don't even clean up my desk because I'm so into my work and you know, I just want to get things done. I just want more. It's like I don't know where this is gonna evolve into, but the route that I want is I want to get more into the film industry. I want to be able to create short films, you know, feature films. I want to be able to direct. I want to bring all our people together so we could create our own stuff, you know, because we don't hardly have any representations, you know. So it's our duty to take it to that level and put ourselves out there and you know, one of many because there's a lot of Chicanos coming up right now. A lot of you know the cinematographers coming up as well too. So we're on the rise, and we have a huge audience to tap into. We're a huge percentage in the United States, so you know we're a sleeping beast.
I think there's a lot of Chicanos coming up right now in everything. In everything, man. It's definitely a great time, man. Um, Not only music videos, but I've seen you done like when you did V class, when you do just certain things like that. Like you just go to an event and you just start filming. Do you get invited to these events, or do you just say like, "Hey, you know what? There's an event going on over there. Let me just go ahead and mess around with my cameras, and I'm gonna put it together and put it on YouTube." How's that?
Yeah, so something that I don't do so much, which Ruth actually does. She takes the responsibility of promoting and also you know keeping up with the social media pages and creating posts stories so we have connected with a lot of organizers and events where in the past we you know sometimes we show up we take some pictures the next time they're like oh you know you did such a good job we want to invite you sometimes we're hired sometimes it's just like we're invited for free vip so you know we go and it's like we don't have no obligation to like give them anything in return, but we always like to show our gratitude by creating a little recap video, you know, sharing some pictures. Yeah, and so
Have
the,
you been hired for weddings or
oh
quinceañeras
yeah,
or birthday parties?
oh
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, yeah. I was just we were blessed to be part of Green Eyes. You know, wedding.
Okay.
She just got married in Redlands a couple months ago. So yeah, it was nothing but a gangster party, nothing but homies uh, and so you know I took my drone shots with all the classic cars. They have also a lowrider themselves too. So and it's like it just felt like family, you know. We had
Mm,
even Elvia Cadena perform there, Twixie.
mm.
Yeah, it was a great event, and so I call it an event because it felt like it. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like pretty much the same. You know, like you do photography, the videography, you do recaps, and so I just treat it like any other event. Yeah, we done a lot of quinceañeras too, graduation parties. Like we just did a graduation video and photo shoot for Bambi. That's Araceli's daughter from um what are they from? Industry Music Group. Yeah,
Oh
shout out
yeah,
to
industry
Industry
music
Music
group.
Group. Yeah,
Okay. Yep.
they're great fellow man. I really like Ruben and DJ Cazal. They're down to earth.
Yep.
They always invite us to their events, and we're always blessed with their.
Yeah,
Uh,
I went to their event in San Bernardino. The last event that I went for them was in San Bernardino for Gene Chandler's final concert.
yes, we're actually gonna go too, but man, we had just so much to do and so much. I personally had a lot of like commitments that I had to like give, you know. So I was like,
Mm,
I have to keep my word too. So I
I
couldn't make.
got you. So Mario, what is your goal, brother? I know you're enjoying all this time, man, and doing what you're doing, but do you want to get into the movie business and start filming some pretty big movies out there?
Yeah, so like at the moment I accomplished a very big goal, which was to become the person, the point of contact to create videos and graphics de la Plaza de Cultura y Arte. So there at the museum. It was this year I became the visual communications manager. So I was blessed with that. That was one of my goals to, like, have a more a position that kind of reflects a little bit my title, because before I was marketing and communications, which was cool, but I wanted something that demonstrated that I was a visual artist. So I was so blessed to have that goal accomplished. And so now, like I mentioned, I would love to get into the film industry, just work with our people, create TV series, create many different movies, short films, features, lo que caiga, I'm just like, I'm ready to work. I'm ready to get it done. Uh, I work fast, and I learn fast, and I don't fuck around. I just want to take care of business, and there's no time to play. I just want to get down to the point. Um, and, I'm at that age where I just want to get things done. And I shout out to, Cover Your Ass Entertainment, CYA Entertainment, all the homies there, Love Machine. We just did a little short film over there.
Mm.
Myers, of course, the go spot. We filmed a little script that Dopey put together. So that was pretty fun. So stuff like that, I got a little taste of, and I just want more, So let's make a movie.
Yeah, damn right, man. I just finished writing a movie, but now we're turning it into a book because I want to hurry up and start writing my next movie, man. I got a lot of ideas with that, but you know what? Glad I started rubbing elbows with you, Holmes, because who knows? Maybe one day we'll be working together, man. You got the skills, that's for dang sure. And I'm very impressed with your work. I really, truly am, man. I'm not just saying that. Very
Thank
impressed with your work. I've seen you work behind the scenes in music videos and the ideas and you just running around, man, and saying like, no, 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 here, it's got to be this background. Okay, stand right here. Okay, now look this way. Like you visualize so much that I'm like, okay, I'm trying to see what you're trying to see, but I don't really quite see it until you actually put the product down. And I said, like, okay, that's what Mario was seeing. Okay, got it. Your visual, man, your vision with your eyes for the camera, it goes in sync, Holmes. And that really speaks a lot of volume, man. You're great. You're born for this, big dog.
Yeah,
You and Ruth got to get her, she's got to get her flowers as well.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it was a whole evolution thing, I
Mm.
didn't just start it and was great at the camera. I had to, like, um, like I said, I had a background in music, background, so that came into play, and just the urge to learn. I mean, sometimes I would even work for free. It's like, if I would give advice to the youngsters, it's like, man, you gotta find the field that you love, do internships, do apprenticeships, go over there and freaking sweep, and you know just demonstrate that you're a hard worker. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're in the industry, and you start us somewhere. I mean, just like the flaming hot guy, Richard, we just watched that movie, and it was very inspiring. uh,
Yes.
Freaking janitor, he came up with his great idea, and cut corners and went straight to the source, and straight to the big guys, and went all out, and there you have it. So sometimes you don't even need an education, you just need the ganas, so
That's it,
you can
man.
have all the education you want, but if you don't have the ganas, I mean, I haven't gotten like like a bachelor's degree or master's degree, but I feel like with my associate degree and the ganas, that's gonna take me um, you know further than I would have. But eventually, hopefully I'll like go back to school and obtain my bachelor's degree, because I have an associate for transfer, so it makes it easier to get that done. But yeah, definitely.
Hey, Mario, before we bring it to an end, carnal, where could they find you? All the social media platforms. If they want to hire you, how could they contact you? Give them all that good stuff, Holmes.
Yeah, absolutely. So you could just pick a social media site. We're on Instagram is one of our most active accounts. Also TikTok, we're pretty active right now. If you guys want to support our YouTube channel, we're about to get monetized too on YouTube. So we're up this Friday or Saturday. I don't know when I'm gonna have the interview ready, but we're gonna release the interview on Chueco de California too. So it's like a 30-minute interview, and it's gonna be pretty much very well in depth, and I'm putting that together right now. So hopefully I have it ready by then. And we're about to, like I said, monetize. We already got a thousand plus subscribers, so we're pretty excited about that. We just need like a couple hundred hours of views. So if you guys want to really support, go to our YouTube channel. Just type in HERDZ-MEDiA and you'll find us. And yeah, if anybody is interested in creating any visual music videos, photography, uh, at the moment I'm even taking it to the next level, and I'm expanding with the animation. So
Mm,
I'm learning this animation program called Animate Adobe Animate. So it's part of the Adobe suite. Yeah, and so I've been doing all the exercises, all the tutorials, and my goal is to create an animated music video. So that's something that I would like to do next. Uh,
okay.
I think Sabo Loco just released a music video like that, like a week ago, literally, or a couple days ago, and I was just blown away. I really love Mike Metz animation from Fools Gone Wild too. Like I really look up to that grimy animation too, and like that's kind of like where I want to take it next with the music videos. Just give that a shot. And um, I already talked to Treco, so I think he's down with it. So he might be the first little trial.
Yeah, even like Incredible Javier has his Traviesos
Oh
animated
yes.
series. It's like a draw animation.
What does it call it? Futopia or something like that?
Traviesos.
Oh, que traviesos. Okay.
Yeah. It's cool, man. But we will bring it to an end right there. But Mario, any last words, Carnal? Anybody who's watching you, any shout outs, any advice, anything that you want to throw out there, brother, the platform is yours.
Yeah, totally. Shout out to everybody who showed up today and supported, commented. I love you guys. Thanks to Ruth too for keeping Herds Media on check and doing all the administrative work. To everybody that helped us out. To everybody that we're working with right now, like CYA, Honey, all the folks, Arturo, my coworkers, La Plaza, Armando, our parents, everybody, man. It's like La Machine. It's just a whole list, people who like helped us and give us opportunities, linked us up, promoted us, recommended us. We're pretty blessed for that. And yeah, and we're at a really young age right now too. Not like I meant like Hertz Media is at a young age. Not myself too. I'm like 36 right now. But anyways, Hertz Media was just like born a couple of years ago too. So we already have accomplished this much, and we're just waiting to for the next big project. And like I said, anybody that's interested in also coming out at an extra for music videos, they want to bring their rides, they want to bring their their look, hit me up, hit up Ruth, and we'll get you in a music video. Right now we're looking for people for this Sunday. We're gonna film it in Boyle Heights, and we're looking for like workers. For example, we're gonna have like construction workers, chefs, just like la raza that's out there, and hustling. And it's gonna be a video where El Chueco's gonna come in and he's just gonna bring people from the job sites and create like this whole caravan of just raza workers, and so that's gonna be pretty interesting. The song is called Paola. It's on YouTube. So if anybody wants to be involved in any of our projects, we always need people. For sure, hit us up.
Yes, I've been one of those extras. It's a fun time, man. It really is.
And
And
shout out
I
to,
will leave the link to Hearns Media YouTube channel pinned in the comment section once we're done, man. So
yeah, I just want to say shout out to MCD, who we
yeah.
work with, and I also had my encounter with Cholo Trucker there because he hired me to do like four of his music videos, and we still have more to go. But thanks to him, who also gave us the opportunities, and that song was called My Beginning, and it was about his life, about like the barrio and how like he got caught up in the game, and like how he transformed and eventually became a man of God too. So that's a really interesting song. Check it out on YouTube. It's called My Beginning by MCD. You'll see Cholo Choco getting jumped and other surprises.
Hey man, Mario, this was fun, big dog, and I'm sure we're gonna run into each other numerous of times, man. Whenever I go somewhere, I'm like, oh damn, Mario's here, man, with the camera, putting in some work. So, as always, familia, live your life like you're on the road. Be aware of your surroundings and always keep a safe distance. Blood makes you live it, but loyalty makes you family. Till next time, this is Ed the Trucker for my man, one Mario Hernandez and Rufus signed from HERDZ-MEDiA. Over and out.